good afternoon to all of you students. So currently we are discussing this very important topic of supply chain management, and that is warehouse management. We discussed quite a few areas of warehouse management. Before we proceed any further, and as always, we are going to do a bit of a recap just to ensure that we have continuity and we can connect with whatever that has already been discussed with the current topic that we are going to discuss today. So we have discussed what warehouse is all about, how the usage of warehouse, how the functions of warehouse has changed over a period of time. The usage of warehouse or the function of warehouse was simply a place to store goods earlier. It has changed. There is a lot of technology that applies in warehouse management. A lot of automation has been applied in warehouse management. But the broader functions still remains the same, and we are going to discuss. Last time, in fact, we have discussed the types of warehouse, and there are three types of warehouse we have discussed: a private warehouse, a public warehouse, and a contracted warehouse. And we did discuss, we did a comparative study between all the three. We did a cost analysis. We have discussed the benefits, the advantages and disadvantages of all the three types of warehouses. Of private warehouses, for instance, are owned by bigger enterprises to ensure they have a better control. On the other hand, on the flip side, there is some initial investment that is required. Public warehouses are generally third party warehouses, okay, warehouses which are owned by a third party. These warehouses have some standard material handling equipments, material handling benefits, and contracted warehouse are the warehouses which is a mix of public and private, and these warehouses are generally contracted by companies for a certain period of time. Public warehouses again have subdivisions. These are meant for certain items, like for instance we discussed, like grains, like cold storage. We also have bonded warehouse also in public warehouses. Bonded warehouse are warehouses which are available at the border of two countries or two states, and certain paperwork needs to be completed and certain duties, octroys, certain fees needs to be paid before the shipment is moved any further. In a contract warehouse also, it is also, as I said, a combination. It is public in nature because it is not owned. Nobody has an exclusive ownership of a contract warehouse. But at the same time, a company can exercise its rights because he has paid or he has contracted that particular warehouse for a certain period of time depending upon his need and requirements. We also discuss the benefits of warehouse. Broadly, there are two benefits of a warehouse we discussed. One is a economical benefit, and the other one is a service benefit. By the name, by the term itself, you will know excuse me, by economical benefit is that it helps a company to perform or to use the warehouse is used for cost effectiveness. Okay. For service, it helps a company to enhance the service to its customers. The warehouse can be operated in a manner that it can provide multiple benefits, and ultimately the customer benefits out of it. In economical benefits, we again discussed consolidation, break bulk, postponement, consolidation, break bulk, postponement, and stockpiling. Under service benefits, we discuss spot stock, mixing, assortment, production assistance, and market assistance. We have discussed last time, students, what consolidation is all about. Consolidation is when a number of plants, when they send shipments to a particular customer, the shipments are consolidated at the consolidation warehouse and delivered to a single customer. We discussed break bulk is quite similar to consolidation, with a difference. It's as we discussed last time, it's a mirror image of consolidation warehouse. In a break bulk warehouse, just opposite of consolidation, shipment for multiple customers are received from a single plant or a manufacturer, brought into the break bulk warehouses, opened, divided, sorted and delivered to multiple customers. So, you see the difference as we discussed last time. Consolidation, multiple plants to single customers, whereas break bulk, single plant, single manufacturer to different customers. Postponement, we discussed that there are certain components, items which needs regular delivery to the production house, the manufacturer, to the plant, but sometimes demand for these products are not known. So, these are to be delivered as soon as the demand from a customer is known. So, what do manufacturer do? So, what they do is that they create a processing, it is also called postponement and processing. So, items without being labeled, without being assigned to a particular customer is brought to a warehouse, which is called a processing and a postponement warehouse. They are not labeled, they are not assigned to a particular customer. So, the delivery to the customer is postponed. As soon as an order arrives, as soon as a demand from a customer is known, the warehouse functions, they process the shipment in terms of they package the shipment. So long the shipments were lying in the warehouse without being packed, without being labeled. So, certain processing happens in terms of packaging and labeling, and then the shipment is delivered to the customer as soon as the delivery requirement is known. Stockpiling. Stockpiling are for commodities which are A, produced at a particular period of time during an year, but used throughout the year. Seasonal products, for instance, certain food products, rice, the grains, certain vegetables, fruits, they are produced at a certain point of time, but the requirement may be throughout the year. On the flip side, on the other hand, there are items which are produced throughout the year, but the generally consumption or generally the items are used at a particular point of time during the year or certain periods of time. Promotional items are one of them. So, for such items, warehouses perform as a stockpiling warehouse where they pile the stock. They create a bulk of the stock, because the stock can be used at a time when manufacturing or production of that particular item is not possible. They are also piled because they are not consumed throughout the year. So, they have to be piled because there would be a sudden market requirement, sudden demand at a particular point of time during the year. So, there needs to be sufficient stock of the goods available readily. So, all these three, they act as, all these are termed as economical benefits of a warehouse. Next, we come to the service benefits. Within service benefits, we have discussed spot stock. In spot stock, we again have explained these are primarily items which are seasonal in nature. So, a certain portion of the production is set aside Why this is set aside? So that it can be used during a critical period of the time of the year. It is set aside, they are not used. They are not used for the consumers when they are produced. So, they are set aside, they are kept aside for a period when there can be no production for that particular product, but there can be a demand for that product in the market. So, that is spot stock. We also discussed mixing. The very word mixing would suggest that these are the warehouse that mixes different shipments. Suppose a manufacturer would require different components, semi-assembled items. Now, just think of a situation where the plant from where these particular components are arriving are far away or they are spread over the country. Now, to get these items, components to the assembly plant or to the manufacturer or the company individually would be a very complex and a complicated situation, and it would also result into high transportation cost. So, the concept of mixing warehouses, all such shipments from different plants all over the country, as I said, this could be the component of one particular item. It can be a car, it can be a machine, it can be whatever. So, these components arrive as separate shipments offloaded at the mixing warehouse, consolidated, made into a single shipment and delivered to the assembly plant or delivered to the manufacturing plant. So, this way shipments come, they arrive at the mixing warehouse. So, by mix we are not saying that the components are mixed, but the entire shipments coming from different locations are mixed, consolidated into a single shipment and delivered to the company. By assortment, we can give you an example. Just consider a sports shop, a sports good shop. He would be requiring, he may be selling sports t-shirts. Now, there are different brands of t-shirts available from different companies. So, he would have a warehouse where he is going to have brands of t-shirts of different brands. He can do an assortment. We know what is assortment is, picking up each an item from different brands, make a single shipment and deliver to a customer. If the customer, a retailer, an outlet, they need, a retail outlet need sports t-shirts of different brands. Now, a sports outlet may also want to have all types of sports goods, not only t-shirts, all possible items which can be categorized as sports goods. Maybe a t-shirt, maybe a badminton racket, maybe a table tennis racket, maybe sports uniforms, maybe hockey sticks, whatever. So, this warehouse operates, these warehouses, they have an assembly of all types of sports goods. All types of sports goods are available in these warehouses. They act as an assortment warehouse, where they do an assortment. In normal life, we have seen when we go to maybe a bakery or a sweet shop, we do ask during festival seasons primarily assortment of sweets. That means different types of, different categories of sweets picked up or pastries picked up and a consolidated boxes prepared. Here similarly, different types of sports goods are picked, assorted, and one single shipment is made and sent to the customer, whoever needs it. It could be a retailer, it could be a sports shop, it could be an outlet, whatever it may be. So, assortment, another service benefit. Production assistance. Now, production unit in order to manufacture the final and the finished product good, he would require a constant delivery, a constant flow of raw materials, components, semi-finished goods, which he is going to use to finally make the final good. Now, at any point of time, if the flow or the delivery of the components are affected or stalled for whatever reasons it may be, the entire production unit will come to a halt. The entire production process will come to a halt. So, the warehouses play a very significant role in feeding the plants, in feeding the assembly points. So, they are a huge support to all production houses, the warehouses. So, this is categorized as one of the service benefit, production assistance. Marketing assistance, the word itself will suggest that the role of marketing department or the sales department is to ensure that there is a continuous flow of transaction, there is a continuous transaction, there is a continuous flow of sales. It is the responsibility of the marketing department to sell the goods and services of a particular product. So, he has certain commitment to the customers, commitment in terms of timely delivery, commitment in terms of the quantity and the quality of the delivery. If his commitment, if whatever he has committed or assured is not fulfilled, he not only lose that particular sale or revenue, he also loses a brand, the company loses its brand in the market, the company loses its reputation in the market. So, the warehouses plays a very, very significant role to ensure that the market is constantly fed, the market is constantly delivered with whatever shipments, quantities and the items that is required and committed by the sales department. At no point of any stock out, any non-availability of goods is going to create a lot of problem for the company. So, a support to the production unit and a support to marketing unit, marketing department are two very critical and significant service benefits of a warehouse. So, this is understood. We have discussed the types of warehouse and we have discussed the benefits of the warehouse. Once I send you separate study materials, by this time I would have sent you an e-book which will include warehouse management and will cover all the topics that I have been discussing since last couple of days. I will also send you separate study materials for separate topics, warehouse management, material handling, packaging, inventory management, so separately. But at the same time, I am also going to send you the PDF versions of all the presentations. The presentations are unique in the sense that all the slides, they cover the significant and the most important point of that particular chapter or the particular topic. Once you have the presentations under your control, it won't be difficult for you to answer a particular question or to have a concept of that particular topic or subject that we are discussing. So, please study the presentations and also the detailed study materials that is going to come to you regularly. The next topic under warehouse management, which is again extremely important. What is a warehouse? What does warehouse? A warehouse has the responsibility of storing goods and products which are of high values, and not only storing, the warehouses are also responsible for free, fast and efficient movement of goods So, if this is a warehouse, we have inbound shipment in that warehouse, the shipments are stored in the warehouse, and when required the shipments are moved out of the warehouse for whatever reasons it may be. This warehouse can be a warehouse which is storing raw materials, semi-finished goods, components or finished goods, whatever it may be. But the basic principle is that they receive the shipment from their supplier, their concerned supplier, and they send the shipment to the next unit who needs these materials for whatever functions, whatever reasons it may be. In the entire process, there are high volume of goods, goods of high value which are moving through the warehouse. So, it is essential that all the warehouses maintain documents as a record of the movement, documents which contains information, all informations about the goods which are moving through the warehouse. When it was received, how much was it received, what time it was received, who received, when was it put in the storage, when was it picked from the storage, when was it dispatched from the storage, which is the transporter who moved the warehouse shipment. Do I have a receipt against that? Was the shipment received damaged? Was the shipment received had damages? Whether the shipment received had shortages? Whether the shipment received had excess items? Whether the shipment dispatch was on time? Whether the shipment dispatch was damaged? Whether the shipment sent had any shortfall? So, there are so many activities within a warehouse, several activities. So, these activities are captured through different documents which has all possible information. Let us go to other slide and see few of the standard documents maintained and used in a warehouse, but let me caution you that documents differ from company to company and a warehouse to warehouse. So, it is not sacrosanct that these are the only documents which are used. These are the very standard documents I have mentioned. You can read the study materials, you can explore through internet and you will see, and also the rules and regulations of our country is changing. The transportation rule, the warehouse management rules, if you have seen very quickly with the advent of GST, the document usage in transportation system is going to undergo a very significant change. So, supply chain management as a process is changing, and so are the internal documentation involved are also going through certain changes or revisions. It may not change totally. The documents currently being used goes through certain revisions as well, certain corrections, certain modifications. Modification is probably the right word. So, what I am trying to tell you over here, while you study warehouse management, warehouse documentation is extremely important, extremely critical, but one has to keep their mind open as these documentation differ from company to company, and also as a rule for the industry it may change any point of time. So, let us go to the slide and see. Warehouse receipts. Every time a shipment is received from a transporter from any other company, a receipt is issued. When one company delivers a good to another company, he would send an invoice which needs to be acknowledged. The invoice would contain all possible information about that particular shipment. Warehouse warrant, a dock warrant, a delivery order. When a shipment is ready for delivery, the warehouse supervisor or manager has to give an approval in writing that the shipment can be sent for delivery. So, a delivery order, bill of lading, we all know bill of lading primarily used for international shipments, which again contains useful information about that shipment, the shipment volume, the numbers, type of goods, their value, etc., etc., etc. Over, short or damage report, whether has been shipment received in excess of whatever that is mentioned in the delivery order or mentioned in the invoice, mentioned in the inventory list, or on the flip side, on the other side, if there is a shortage. If the number of the quantity of shipments received are as per the invoice, there can be damages that may result in rejection, that may result in penalizing the vendor or the supplier. And lastly, what is a warehouse meant for? Warehouse is meant for storing goods. That means an inventory is created within the warehouse. This is the inventory, the stock of goods. So, there is a record of the inventory which keeps changing, and it is essential. Why is it changing? Because sometimes we add inventory, but there is no dispatch, so inventory may go up. On the other hand, there could be dispatches without any receipt, so the inventory may go down. So, basically what we are talking of are shipments coming in and going out, and by doing that the inventory position keeps changing. And it is essential, since the volume of the goods and the value of the goods concerned are of high value and of critical importance, maintaining an inventory record is extremely essential. When we do inventory management, probably in the next few sessions once we are done with warehousing, because inventory management and warehouse management go hand in hand. So, we will do, after this we will probably do packaging and material handling, and then inventory management, and there you will know how inventory is managed, how inventory is controlled, what is a safety stock, what is an average inventory, what are the different models which is used to decide what sort of lot size, economic order quantity, all these will be discussed during inventory management. Broadly over here, what we are discussing, inventory status report is one of the very critical document that is maintained in the warehouse. The next slide is something very common to all of us today. It is nothing new, and this is a barcode. Now, today in the modern business, we have such high volume of shipments moving, such high quantity of shipment moving at such a high speed, and all the process being automated, it is very difficult to track or to record the movement of a shipment manually. It is not possible. So, I need not speak much on a barcode. So, a barcode is a representation of a data basically. So, this horizontal lines in that you see, it is basically a combination of information or data which cannot be read normally. So, we have a information, so we use a scanner to read the data which are hidden in that particular barcode. Now, what does a barcode do? Every time a shipment moves, when I say a movement of a shipment, it can be from the time when it leaves the warehouse, it is transported, it arrives at the distribution center, it is sent to the retailer, it is sent to the customer, it is delivered to the customer, it is again picked up from the customer in case there is a damage, there is a reverse logistics. So, this entire journey, how do we capture all informations about the shipment during that journey? So, we use a barcode, and at every stage of the movement we scan the shipment, which records the status of the shipment, whether it is lying in the warehouse, whether it is moved out of the rack, whether it is delivered at the airport or it is handed over to a transporter. The moment it arrives at the destination warehouse, again it is scanned. So, it records the time when it is available at the destination warehouse. Again the barcode is used to determine when it is delivered to the customer, when it was received by the customer. So, today the barcode is one of the, that is the reason I have made a special slide to understand, for all of you to understand, and today you have different kinds of barcodes. I am sure most of you would use Paytm as one of your payment option, and we all know Paytm, what it is all about. It is a digital wallet. So, when you pay somebody through Paytm, you would have seen either you transfer money to his Paytm account through his telephone number, or he has a barcode, specific barcode, which needs to be scanned and the money gets transferred. So, there are different kinds of barcodes today, but at this point of time for warehouse management, a basic knowledge of barcode is good enough. If somebody wants to study more, internet and read every possible barcodes available. Let us go to the next slide, which says warehouse operating principles. Now, to operate a warehouse, there are 3 areas that needs special attention when you operate a warehouse. What are they? Design of the warehouse, the handling process in the warehouse, handling process or handling technology, and number 3, what is the storage plan that warehouse would have. That would determine the warehouse operating principle, how the warehouse is operated. Let us just go to the slide and read some significant areas. Once we have determined to use a warehouse, we have to understand, is this a small warehouse? Is it operated manually? Is it a large warehouse with excess capacity, with large capacity to store goods? Is it a warehouse which has automation, which has lot of technology being used in the warehouse? So, the 3 principles, 3 broad principles which are very, very significant and relevant. The design criteria, the handling technology, and the storage plan of that particular warehouse. What do we mean by design? What are the criteria that the design, that the subject design would have? A, the number of stories, how big the warehouse is, how many stories that the warehouse has. Does it have a single floor? Does it have multiple floors? How well the height can be utilized. When we use a residential apartment, we generally talk of square feet. because we are primarily using the carpet area, the ground area, the floor area. That is the reason you would have seen properties, apartments are sold per square feet. When we say square feet, we are talking of just two dimensions, length and the breadth. But when you operate a warehouse, it is essential that you use all the three dimensions, length, breadth and height. Public warehouses, they charge not per square feet, they sometimes charge per cubic feet. So, it is essential, since I am paying not only for the floor area, I am paying for the floor as well as the height. So, I should at the same time, for a proper return of investment, use both length, breadth as well as height of the warehouse. So, height utilization. And number 3, what is the product flow? I did mention in the previously that shipments are arriving at in a warehouse, being stored and being sent out, dispatched. So, there is a constant movement of shipment within the warehouse. Shipments sometimes are picked from the warehouse for internal use also, not always to be dispatched to other companies or other facilities, but the principally basically the goods or the shipments are moving within the warehouse. So, the design criteria includes the number of stories, the height utilization and the product flow. Traditionally, we had warehouses with single floor, and the standard height of a warehouse used to be 20 feet. Today, we have warehouses which has multiple floors. There are warehouses without any roofs, without any ceiling in between, without any gap in between, and there are warehouses which utilizes 4 to 5 stories at a time. So, we are talking of 80 to 100 feet warehouses, 80 to 100 feet warehouses operated, and that is possible today because there is lot of automated material handling available. I am going to, once I am done with the warehouse, in the next session I am going to show you videos which is going to tell you how much automation is involved in material handling within a warehouse. So, this much for this particular session. I will come back in the next session after the break. Thank you very much.